Every single star, planet, and particle in the entire cosmos operates under a strict, inescapable set of rules. Before we can understand how living things survive, we have to look at the physical laws that dictate everything they do. The first rule is the first law of thermodynamics. It states that the total amount of energy in the universe is an absolute constant. You cannot create new energy out of nothing, and you cannot destroy the energy that already exists. This diagram from a physics textbook illustrates this perfectly. Look at the boys on the seesaw. When one goes down, his potential energy isn't lost. It is simply transferred to the other boy to lift him up. It is a strictly zero-sum game. But the second law of thermodynamics adds a grim catch. While the energy amount remains constant, the quality of that energy constantly degrades over time. In any physical process, the universe naturally drifts away from order and toward maximum disorder, or entropy. If you check the bottom of the page, you can see how this decay happens spontaneously. Throw a stack of bricks into the air, and they will naturally fall into a chaotic, disordered pile. They will never spontaneously land in the shape of a perfect wall. According to the rigid mathematics of physics, the natural state of all matter is decay, and the ultimate fate of the universe is total chaos, which makes the existence of a living cell incredibly strange. Inside a cell, you find thousands of complex proteins, tightly coiled DNA, and microscopic machines perfectly orchestrating their movements. Cells take disorganized raw materials and aggressively build highly structured, hyper-organized machinery. This presents a massive paradox. If the fundamental law of the universe dictates that everything must decay into a messy, disordered state, how can a living organism possibly exist? Biology cannot break the laws of physics. If life is going to survive and build order out of chaos, it has to use a chemical loophole. The solution to the paradox lies in the fact that a living cell is an open system. It doesn't violate the second law of thermodynamics. It satisfies the law by exporting chaos to its surrounding environment. This textbook excerpt highlights the exact mechanism. Look at the diagram showing the solid, liquid, and gas particles. To build a highly ordered, compact solid structure internally, a living cell burns fuel and releases chemical waste and heat into its outer environment. That heat makes the surrounding molecules bounce around faster and more chaotically, satisfying the universe's demand for total disorder. Biochemists measure this transaction using a concept called Gibbs free energy, written as delta G. This equation acts as a ledger, calculating the heat and entropy of a system to determine if a specific chemical reaction is physically allowed to happen. This visual ledger shows what happens when a cell tries to build a complex protein or pump a molecule across a membrane. Because building structure fights natural entropy, the process is endergonic, meaning it demands a massive input of energy. The thermodynamic ledger grows deep into the red. On its own, this biological action will fail. To pay off this thermodynamic debt and force the reaction to occur, the cell needs a physical fuel source. It needs something it can spend. Cells solve this by using coupled reactions. They take the energy-draining reaction they want to perform and physically link it to a highly volatile, energy-releasing reaction. Almost universally across all living things, the fuel they use to provide that explosive energy release is a molecule called adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. This diagram of ATP's chemical structure reveals the source of its power. Look at the 3 phosphate groups clustered together on the left. They are packed with oxygen atoms carrying negative charges. Because negative charges fiercely repel each other, holding them together creates immense physical tension, acting like a compressed biochemical spring. Watch what happens when the cell performs a reaction called hydrolysis. By snapping off that single terminal phosphate group, the molecule relieves that intense charge repulsion. That single break releases an astonishing 30.5 kilojoules per mole of energy into the surrounding cell. That energy directly powers the endergonic work. ATP acts as the universal physical link between the calories we consume and the mechanical work our biology performs. To see what thermodynamics and ATP hydrolysis look like at a macro scale, we only need to look at the specialized leaves of a Venus flytrap. When an unsuspecting insect grazes the trigger hairs on the leaf, the plant executes a highly ordered mechanical capture in just half a second. The plant doesn't have muscles. Instead, it moves by weaponizing turgor pressure. The trigger hairs cause the plant to instantly pump a massive concentration of potassium ions across its cell membranes, forcing water to rapidly rush into the leaf's outer cells and violently snap the trap shut. Organizing millions of ions against their natural gradient in a fraction of a second requires a staggering amount of energy. To pay for the movement, the plant cells hydrolyze a massive flood of ATP, cleaving phosphate bonds to balance the thermodynamic ledger and drive the physical action forward. Living things are not passive victims in a universe steadily declining toward chaos. Organisms use the precise chemistry of bioenergetics to capture energy, pay their thermodynamic debts, and fiercely maintain their own internal order.